Hi, so today we are going to talk about a new crew that was hidden in the free download section of the Modifuse website, and it is your favorite antagonist from Fallout 76. It is the Cult of the Mothman. The cultists are coming to Nuka-World, and they are coming to summon their favorite god. So be ready to have some fun with them, and I'll explain to you how the crew works. So, as I've just told you, there's a new faction that appeared in Nuka-World, and it's the Cult of the Mothman. I was just browsing on the Modifuse website, looking at the free PDFs that are available for the new figurines they've issued. And at the back of one of the PDFs, I've just found these Fallout faction rules for the crew of the Mothman. As an aside, there's also the Zetans, the invaders from beyond. I'll make a video for those as well. So yeah, so I find it a bit surprising that nobody else seems to be talking about that. There are new factions coming to Fallout factions, new crews that you can make. They use the models from Fallout Western Warfare, but they're not described as they're really not described as get you by lists. They're described as proper lists. So we're going to have a look at them. Today is the Cult of the Mothman, and what we have is a very interesting and very different faction. As you can see, the leader, very interestingly, is a high priest, and he simply doesn't have any weapon that can be of any use in any circumstance. The stats aren't too bad, but hand weapons, that's terrible. There's like 3 dice hitting on a strength of 4. You're not going anywhere with that. It doesn't matter that he's got a health of 3. It is that leader is simply not a fighter. So we'll find its use. We'll find his use a little bit later in the video. What's very interesting with the High Priest is he's got a lot of perks. So he's got Inspirational, Natural Leader, Offering, and Ritual. So Offering and Ritual are going to be very interesting because they're perks that are specific to the Cult of the Mothman. And you'll see how we can use them, and that will define effectively the use for the leader. We also have champions. The champions are actually pretty usable. You've got champions with flamer, champion with hunting rifle, and champion with hardened sniper rifle. So there isn't a model in the boxes for the Cult of the Mothman. There isn't a model with a hardened sniper rifle. I've had a few thoughts about how we can do that. I think there are options, some probably better than others, but we'll discuss that later when we get to building your crew. So then we have the cultists, the grunts, and again you'll see that all of those have got the ritual perk, which is going to be quite useful. And I'll explain my thoughts about this crew a little bit later on. So the cultists, they are... Oh, sorry, I was talking about the faithful. So the faithful, they've also got the ritual perk, which a lot of the models are going to have, and we'll explain later how that's useful to the team. So the champions, we've said, there's the one with the flamer we talked about. Flamer is a strength weapon, so hitting with a strength of 4 might be a little bit difficult. But that should still be doable. Then we've got the faithful with the hunting rifle. Perception of 5, so that's pretty good. And we've also got a faithful with a hardened sniper rifle. Again, perception of 5, so that should be fairly easy to hit. We've got the cultist. Again, ritual perk. And they have the Molotov cocktail and heavy pipe pistol. So that one is a bit of an outlier because, as you can see, with an agility of 4 and a perception of 3, you don't particularly want to give your cultists a Molotov cocktail and a heavy pipe pistol because they're not going to be that useful as the main character initiating the shoot action. Then we've got the cultist with the pipe revolver and the hand weapon. It's a little bit cheaper than the next cultist, but the pipe revolver is only 3 dice. So and you're shooting with an agility of 4, and the hand weapon, although the cultist has got a strength of 5, the hand weapon is only 3 dice. So probably not my first choice in there. Although as a support character, it could still work, providing supporting fire, or also providing support in melee. The next cultist is probably my choice, the heavy pipe pistol and machete. So the machete is a 4 dice weapon with a strength of 5, so probably a good chance of having quite a few hits. And with a luck of 2, I think you're quite likely to get some critical dice. And we'll talk later about why critical dice are going to be incredibly important for this team. The luck stat is 2. It was the same for the Faithful, luck of 2, and the Disciples have also got a luck of 2. Now the Disciples, again, the ritual perk, and what we have here is probably a range of shotgun and rifle. So we've got a double barrel shotgun, which is 21 caps. It might not seem very interesting, but when you look at the traits for the double barrel shotgun, I think you'll find out that this is probably your weapon of choice. We've also got a combat shotgun, which is about the same once you put the storm extra dice into play. It's about the same, and the handmade rifle. In my crew, I don't think I'll consider the handmade rifle, but I'll explain to you later why that is. So now we've got the Seekers. The Seekers, again, perk ritual, very important, and their weapons are, well, I mean, they're Seekers, so they're the lowest of the lowest. They've only got a luck of 1. So in my crew, really, and I'll talk about how I build my crew later, they'll only be there to provide support in range or melee, just to add extra dice to characters that are a bit more competent than them. So you've got a choice between the pipe pistol and machete, which is, it's a good choice from a cost point of view, but because the pipe pistol has only got 8 inches range, I don't think that's going to be very useful in supporting other characters, because they're always going to be a little bit too far. And since they only have 1 health, you can't really put them too far ahead, because it's quite likely that they'll just get shot by characters that have got longer range. Then you got a 10mm pistol and machete. I think that's a solid option. 10mm pistol has got a range of 10 inches, so not great, but definitely significantly better than the pipe pistol. And then you have the pipe revolver and machete, which would be really my choice for them. That's got a range of 12 inches, which is going to be more than suitable, because a lot of your other characters should be in about the same range, really. Certainly if you got the one with the flamer, that's only 6 inches. If you got someone with a hunting rifle or hardened sniper rifle sitting a little bit back, then it's still going to work. Or you could also use the 44 pistol and machete, because that's got even longer range, but that becomes a little bit expensive. What I would say really is, ideally you want the pipe revolver or the 44, because they've got 4 dice, and those 4 dice are going to be very important if you try to use them for damage dealing. Like I said, it's probably not really their main role in my crew, but sometimes you have to rely on your Seekers to deal some damage. So here we can see the weapons list. So as I've said, my choice really would be to try to get double barrel shotguns on the Disciples. and that is because of the Storm 2. They've got a longer range than the combat shotgun. They've got 12 inches. I know they've only got 3 dice on a perception test, but they've got Storm 2. So if you can get within 6 inches of another character, which might work quite well with the other support characters you have. One thing you must have realized now that we're looking at the weapons list is obviously there are Mothman weapons described on there. So okay, so now I think it's time to talk about the ploys of the Cult of the Mothman and the ritual points, which is going to be a core mechanic of the Cult of the Mothman. So as very thematically done, the Cult of the Mothman is trying to summon the Mothman. Now, the way we're going to summon the Mothman is by gaining ritual points. So how do you gain ritual points? We're going to gain ritual points by effectively sacrificing some of our lucky dice that hit. So when you sacrifice one of your lucky dice, you gain 1 ritual point, which is probably going to be one of your main way of gaining ritual points. The leader, obviously, can also generate ritual points through the rummage action. So instead of gaining caps and parts, the leader can gain ritual points by doing the rummage action. Obviously, again, that's a sacrifice because instead of gaining those resources, you're sacrificing them to the Mothman and gaining favor from the Mothman. So what can we do with those ritual points? Well, the first thing we're going to try to do is gain a lot of those ritual points because we're going to try to summon the Mothman. Now, once you've summoned the Mothman, you cannot gain ritual points anymore. So once you've lost the ability to generate those ritual points, you're going to find that it's going to be difficult to keep your Mothman alive. And we'll see why you probably won't try to keep the Mothman alive. And the Mothman can actually be a very supporting model in your crew. And we'll see why effectively the fact that your leader is useless doesn't mean that your crew doesn't benefit from your leader, because we'll see what happens when you summon the Mothman. So what options do we have around the Mothman? Well, we have 2 ploys, effectively. We have the Enlightened, and we have the Followers of the Winged Worm. So these are ploys that you have to enact at the start of any of your turn. And if you have more than 10 ritual points in your ritual count, then you can summon the Mothman. So there is a wise Mothman, and when you enact the Enlighten, you place the wise Mothman within 3 inches of a friendly leader. Otherwise, if your leader has been removed from the battlefield, then the Mothman has to go to the center of the battlefield, which is probably very bad news for your Mothman, unless you've got a lot of characters around there. And as soon as you've enacted the ploy, you lose the ability to generate ritual points. Now, you've also got the Followers of the Winged Worm, which is, again, same ploy at the start, and you enact it at the start of any of your turn. And when you do that, when you enact that ploy, you place the Holy Mothman within 3 inches of your leader. Or again, if your leader has been eliminated from the battlefield, you place the Holy Mothman within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield. For both of those rituals, or both of those ploys, you lose the ability to generate ritual count, and you cannot enact both of those ploys in a battle. Okay, it's going to be one or the other. You can't have both. So what's the difference? Well, the Wise Mothman is going to be a support character. He's going to have quite a bit of ability that are going to support your team. And the Holy Mothman, on the other hand, is going to be a very aggressive character that's going to be there to fight your enemies. As you can see, the Wise Mothman does not have any weapon, but the Holy Mothman has got a melee weapon, which is the Sonic Wave, which is going to be attacking all the enemies around the Holy Mothman. So potentially, if your leader is getting attacked by quite a few characters, you could spawn the Holy Mothman and defend your leader. The Holy Mothman has also got a ranged attack, which is the Mothman Sonic Screech. It's a pistol type of attack. It's fast and it's also got pushback. But the good thing is it's a 5 agility test, and as you can see, the Holy Mothman has got a very high agility. So that is going to be quite a good weapon. An interesting thing, I'm sure you've already realized, the Mothman does not have any health statistics, and that is because effectively, if you got enough ritual points, your Mothman is pretty much undefeatable, and we'll see that on the next page. Right, so looking at the perks for the Mothman. So both versions of the Mothman have got effectively an ability that means that when the Mothman would suffer an injury, you reduce your ritual count by 1. So that's why it's quite important to have generated a lot of ritual points before you summon your Mothman. And that means that, well, instead of taking an injury, you just reduce your ritual count and the Mothman is unaffected. So that is going to be quite important because the Mothman the Mothman is not hardy, so it's the same as any normal model, so 3 harm before you suffer an injury. But as long as you got ritual points, you just keep on adding the harm, and then when you trigger to 4 harm, you just lose the ritual points. So your Mothman can effectively be tanking for a lot of your team, while providing support or providing a lot of damage ability for your team. Especially when you consider that the Sonic Screech is actually fast, so you could have a Mothman attacking twice with a fairly powerful weapon and effectively not being able to be removed from the board as long as you've got ritual points. So obviously all versions of the Mothman have got the perk Flight, so the Mothman can move through the proximity of enemy models, and it can get moving when engaged with an enemy model. And the Wise Mothman, if it's not eliminated during the battle, will allow you to have a free recruit action. Which might be a very good solution for your crew. The Wise Mothman also allows you to effectively use his charisma for confusion tests, and the charisma for the Holy Mothman is 8. The Holy Mothman also gives characters within its control area charisma of 8, and the Wise Mothman has got a charisma of 8 as well, so he's got a very long control area. So it's effectively giving a lot of models a very large control area. It's also allowing you to not fail confusion tests within its control area, which again is enormous. It's allowing you to reduce your ritual count by 1 if you have failed a confusion test, and then you consider the test to be passed. I know from personal experience that I absolutely hate failing confusion tests because I fail them all the time, and that usually removes half of my crew in a few turns, in a few actions, which is something I don't particularly like. So that Wise Mothman would be incredibly good for me. Okay, so here we have the faction-specific weapons. The main problem we're going to have is shown here, which is the hardened sniper rifle, because there is no model in the boxes that are available for the crew of the Mothman that have got a hardened sniper rifle. As a matter of fact, I can't really find any model in the Fallout Western Warfare or Fallout Faction range that would have a hardened sniper rifle. And I think your best bet really is going to be the 50 cal rifle that you can find in Caesar's faction, or in the NCR as well. So as a matter of fact, if you could get the single NCR Ranger promo model with a 50 cal rifle, I think there would be a good opportunity to remove the arm that's holding the sniper rifle, because it's holding it in only one arm, and put that on one of the models from the Court of the Mothman. I think it could make that work. Or it might also be easy to do the same with Caesar, because the type of clothing is going to be a bit more similar to what the Cult of the Mothman would wear. So now we're going to talk about how you would use that crew. Realistically, you need to generate a lot of ritual points very quickly in the first few rounds of the game. The reason is obviously you want to have the Mothman on the board, whether it's the Holy Mothman or the Wise Mothman, and you still need to have quite a few ritual points to then use to maintain the Mothman. And use the abilities, the perks that the Mothman is providing. So the only way you can really generate all those ritual points rapidly in the first few rounds is going to be using your leader to do rummage actions to generate ritual points, which realistically is the only use you're going to get out of your leader anyway. And also trying to use weapons that have got as many dice as possible with a fairly high luck. So you've got luck of 3 on your champions and 2 on your grunts, well, apart from the seekers. So you're going to try to maximize the number of luck dice you're going to use. You could use, I mean, you could use any weapon really, even the Molotov cocktail. On a character with 2 luck, you're just rolling 2 luck dice. You've got a chance of still hitting a luck dice and generating ritual points. But the problem, if the fewer dice you roll, even if you hit with your luck dice, that's a dice you have to sacrifice the effect for to generate your ritual points. So what I think is the best solution, and if you have comments or if you have other thoughts on that, please leave them in the comments. I think you want to roll as many dice as possible so you can still keep some damage while trying to maximize your ritual points. So if you roll 2 luck dice out of 5 dice and you hit with those 2 dice, if you've got 1 or 2 other hits with the normal dice, you're not going to feel too bad about sacrificing your luck dice and actually generating 2 ritual points. Now, if you for example, if you throw a Molotov cocktail and you've only got 2 luck dice and you hit with those, well, now you're in a difficult position, because what do you do? Do you generate ritual points, or do you actually try to damage the opposing model? So by having more dice, you can sort of mitigate that by still generating some harm and potentially generating ritual points. Which is why I've tried to create my crew with a loadout that maximizes those dice, and that's where we'll see that the main issue with this faction is going to be the cost of actually getting the faction. And I'll show you why, because you're going to need a number of boxes to actually get the faction, the crew you want. It's something I've noticed in Fallout Faction. Pretty much all the factions. It's the same with the operators. It's the same with the pack. You can't really have just one box and have exactly the team you want. It doesn't really work that way. Yes, you can have a crew with just one box, but it's not going to be an ideal crew, or it probably not going to be exactly the setup you want. And we're going to have exactly the same problem here, where you could actually perfectly well have a crew that works with just one box of the Cult of the Mothman Clergy and one box of Cult of the Mothman Followers. So you could get a crew that's around 240, 250 caps. So that works perfectly well on the board, but it's probably not going to be set up the way you want. Ideally, you're going to you're going to need a number of boxes, and I'll tell you what the ideal solution for me would be. So in my opinion, as a minimum, you're going to need 2 boxes of Mothman Clergy, simply because otherwise you can't really build your champions and your leader. I suggest you get one, well, it's going to be one of those, but one box of the NCR with the 50 cal, or one box of Caesar's Legion with the 50 cal. Or you could also get, like I said, the single NCR Ranger with the 50 cal. So that would probably be your cheapest solution in there. You're going to need one box of the Mothman Eclipse, simply because you're going to need those Mothman models to put on the board when you summon the Mothman. And you need one box of Cult of the Mothman Followers. With a bit of kit bashing and maybe modifying the model that carries the Molotov cocktail, you should be able to get a full crew composed of obviously your leader, 3 champions, two champions, one with a hunting rifle, one with a hardened sniper rifle, 2 seekers with pipe revolver and machete, 3 disciples with double barrel shotguns, and 2 cultists with heavy pipe pistols and machete. That should bring you to 247 caps, and I think that's a crew that would absolutely maximize your chances of producing ritual points, but also managing to put some damage on the other team. Now, if you're not willing to get those 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 boxes, which makes it an incredibly expensive crew, let's be realistic. Although it does also give you extra models for upgrading your crew in the future, so there's that. If you don't want to do that, like I said, I'm sure you can make it work with only 3 boxes. That's 1 Mothman Clergy, 1 Mothman Followers, and 1 Mothman Equinox. And that would give you a lead, obviously your leader, a faithful with a flamer, a faithful with a hunting rifle, 2 seekers, 1 with 10mm pistol and machete, 1 with the pipe revolver and the machete, 3 disciples with shotguns, so that would be 2 double barrel and 1 combat, and 2 cultists, and the cultist would be a pipe revolver and machete. I think it's a heavy pipe revolver and machete, and the other one would have the pipe pistol and the Molotov cocktail. So not exactly ideal, and again you're using all the models in that box, in those boxes, so you don't really have any room for upgrading your crew, but it's still, it should be usable on the board, and that's probably, if you want that to be your starting point, that's probably not a bad idea. That means you can get playing games with just 3 boxes, which is certainly better than the 5 boxes that I would have to use for my ideal team. There's still potentially a little bit of proxying between heavy pipe pistols, things like that. but it's very minimal proxying. So I think that will be my starting point for my Cult of the Mothman Crew. Those 3 boxes, the boxes that are specific to the Cult of the Mothman. Yeah, so I think that's about all we can say about the Cult of the Mothman right now. Obviously, I haven't played them because I've just found those rules for the Cult of the Mothman. I am actually really looking forward to playing that because the rules with the summoning of the Mothman, that sounds very interesting. Whether it's easy to play or not, whether it's actually useful in game or not, I don't really know, but just the fact that you've got a faction that can summon the Mothman during a battle, I think that's worth giving it a try. And I'm absolutely shocked that nobody else on the internet seems to be talking about that. I know those documents are not are not titled in a way that makes you understand that they're going to cover the rules for the crew of the Mothman in Fallout factions, but anybody who would have read the documents in any kind of detail would have realized that they cover Fallout factions, and you know, more factions in Fallout factions is exactly what most people want. I'm pretty sure that's definitely what I want. So I'm really shocked that people are not talking about that. We should be shouting about this on the rooftops. Everybody needs to know that there are more factions now, and it looks great because that means that they just have to produce those rules whenever they issue new boxes for Fallout Western Warfare, and we're going to get more crews in Fallout factions battle for Nuka-World. But that's incredibly exciting, and again, there's nothing to say that Fallout factions can't go to other places than Nuka-World. You know, why can't we have Fallout factions battle for Appalachia? So yeah, I mean, get your factions, and if you're playing Fallout Western Warfare anyway, well, you want to get those boxes, so just make sure you assemble them in a way that works for Fallout factions. And that's going to be all for today. Next video is going to be about the Zetans. You will see that it's a lot simpler with the Zetans. There's certainly less thinking to be done when it comes to putting the crew together. But I'll leave that for the next video. Alright, so tuning out. I hope you enjoy your war games, and make sure to tune in next time.